Hello and welcome to Health Talk. I'm Dr. Manny. It's not easy to be a tween or teen these days. Many young girls struggle with relational aggression, social anxiety, and low self-esteem. And at a time when our society is pushing parents to bring up strong and independent girls, how can we make sure we're not raising the next bully or mean girl? Here to help us figure that out is psychotherapist and author of No More Mean Girls, The Secret to Raising Strong, Confident, and Compassionate Girls, Katie Hurley. Welcome, Doc.
Thanks for having me.
Let me get right to it. This book is focused primarily as a guide to parents between, for girls between the ages of 3 and 13.
That's right.
All right. So let's, cut to the chase. How do we think we're seeing why are we seeing a rise in this bully, mean-spirited relationship, especially among girls nowadays?
Well, a lot of things have happened in the past couple of decades, and some of them are great. On the one hand, girls have more opportunities than they've ever had. When I was a girl, I was one of 2 girls on a boys' lacrosse team. Well, now I have an 11-year-old daughter who gets to just be one of the girls on a girls' lacrosse team. So that's a positive development. But other things we've seen is the toxic competition among girls. Parents are so eager to get their girls into everything and to be the best at everything that we're sort of training girls to turn on each other and climb on on top of one another to get to the top.
Yeah, I have a daughter. She's 18. I don't think she's a bully. I think she's a wonderful girl. But if, as a parent, what kind of signs should I pick up to say, you know what, my daughter is not acting properly?
Well, if your daughter is suddenly shunning girls that she used to hang out with, if she's acting in a certain way, more verbally aggressive than she once was, if you're seeing major shifts in behavior and you're seeing that she only wants to be with certain people and won't go to the birthday parties anymore of the girl next door, or she starts talking about being popular, being liked, or that one's not cool, or that one's not in our group, those kind of comments. You want to watch carefully and really just talk to your daughter about what's going on. I mean, it's natural for kids to experience shifts in friendships. Sometimes you're best friends with one person at 10, right, and at 18, you're no longer really friends, but you're still kind.
Right. So one of the things in your book is we still want to raise girls, I think more than ever, to have self-confident and have very high spirits and succeed as they should. So how do we promote self-esteem without hovering and creating, this malicious competition?
Right. Well, one thing that's kind of interesting that the research is finding is that even in this time of girl power, girls are really not very assertive, and they're not having the self-confidence they need to assert themselves, in school, in sports, just out in the wild. And Girl Scouts of America actually did a survey to find out, well, what are the barriers to leadership? Why aren't girls being leaders more often? And what girls said is they don't want to be seen as bossy. They don't want other kids to not like them. They don't want kids to turn on them. They're afraid of getting laughed at. So one thing parents can do right now is really build those assertiveness skills. And that's easy stuff you can do at home, even as easy as, putting your kid in the driver's seat a little bit more. How often do you find yourself ordering dinner for your daughter by accident just because it's easy?
Right.
We got to step back and know that little kids can order their own dinners at a restaurant.
It's Chinese tonight, so you figure it out, see what everybody wants, and make it fun.
Right.
I like that. What do we do with social media, and how do we navigate that responsibility of allowing them to use social media to interact with others, because that's one way to do it, but also that it doesn't become a harmful tool?
Well, one thing we really need to do is talk to kids more often and more openly about social media. This whole thing about fudging birth dates to get 9-year-olds on Instagram and on Snapchat, when you do that, you're teaching your kid that it's okay to lie to get what you want. So that's one thing. I mean, there are healthy limits that are already in place. You're supposed to be 13 for all of these different social media apps. And parents are fudging birth dates all over the place just so their kids can be in on it.
Right.
Talk to them. It's hard to be the one that's not on it. I have an 11-year-old daughter. She's not on Instagram. And recently she said to me, well, other kids are. Could I just use it for this and this? And I said, it's really not healthy for your age right now. Let's talk about why.
Right.
But then really teaching them, parents are using social media at an alarming rate. Every time we're frustrated, we complain on Facebook and tag a company and potentially ruin a company, small mom and pop, or a person, because we're angry. So we have to model healthy use of social media, and we have to really talk about that person on the other end of the screen. Kids right now are using it so quickly and so fiercely that they're forgetting there's a human being on the other end of the screen reading what they're writing, and we really need to talk about it.
All right, last question. Give me 3 tips, 3 things. You know, you have many tips in your book, but 3 tips that we can give parents to help them navigate this problem.
Well, I think one thing parents can do right away is create friendship maps with their kids, because kids they spend so much time in school and in one classroom or in just a couple classrooms that they get fixated on, if they're not having a best friend in that classroom, that they're not cool or they're not popular. So I encourage parents to draw out maps of all the places that kids have friends, sports, church, temple, wherever you go on the weekends, and remind them that they have friends other places, and then bring in those friendships. Really plan outings with those other kids so that they can see they have a wide variety of friendships. Another thing to do is to really promote empathy in your own home. A lot of parents tell me they look the other way when siblings fight. They're just going to let them work it out. Sibling relationships are an important way to build empathy and compassion and to teach kids how to work through conflict. So if you get in there with them, don't solve the problem for them, but just problem solve alongside them and guide them a little bit. Well, then they learn how to take that information and use it out in the world. And then I would say the last thing is just really working on those assertiveness skills, as I mentioned before, so that girls aren't afraid to speak up in a wide variety of settings. They need to raise their voices.
Very important information. I think the book is fantastic. I think any parent should get this book.
Thank you.
No More Mean Girls, because nowadays this is a very important topic for your family. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
And if you have any health questions, send a tweet to Fox News Health. Until next time, I'm Dr. Manny.